everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Katie Journals, and today I am setting up my bullet journal for the month of February 2021. I was really excited to start the new month of February and end January because I think we can all agree that was a little more crazy than we expected. So let's move on to February and get set up. First, I am flipping through all my January spreads. I filled up my January brain dump almost right away because I was eager to get into this new journal and skipped using December's brain dump and skipped right into using January. So I ended up making a new spread for that, and that was just fine. You know, if you run out of space, just make more room in your bullet journal, and that's what I ended up doing. Now we are moving into the cover page. I wanted the cover page to look similar to what my sister and I's desk is going to look like at the finish of our bedroom makeover. So there are two seats here, as well as the IKEA drawers that we have in our desk space, as well as this little organizer thing that has all the squares with the grids, and then also how the Polaroids are set up in a clock. This is very similar to how I want our desk to look like now in person. I started off by just sketching everything out in my journal and how I want it to look like. At first, I wanted to do very similar to Amanda Rach Lee's theme with a little girl sitting on her desk, but drawing the person was too intense for me after I tried on scrap paper, so I ended up just doing my own little offcut, and that was totally fine with me. As you will notice, I am doing this very slowly. I didn't want to mess anything up, especially on the cover page of my journal. So I did everything very slowly and planned everything out with pencil, and then also made sure that I sketched everything out and knew how I wanted all the colors to match and where I wanted the February to land on the page, as well as I did a cute little calendar on the left-hand side of my page. You can't really see it now, but once I sketch it in, you'll be able to see it a lot better. And then I put the clock at noon, so just making little details that made this spread really come together, as well as adding this really cute grid washi tape I ended up buying off of a friend. If you watched my setup from January, you'll notice that I did a few changes, as well as just making it seem a lot more of a doodly spreads for February. In January, I did a few more sketching items like drawing Beauty and the Beast. Some of the small little characters from Beauty and the Beast were a lot harder, and I wanted to make February more of a doodle theme. As you watched the flip through, you noticed that I didn't keep the theme through all my weekly spreads, because all the sketching was catching up to me and I was getting kind of tired of the color palette. So hopefully with February, I'll be able to keep up this cute little theme. And I think that even in the whole desk theme, you can do a lot of different items, as well as like little bookcases or anything stationery or desk related, which is all the things I love. So I think I can do a lot of fun spreads using this theme. Now I am just coloring in the cover page for February. I ended up just putting all the pastel colors kind of wherever I wanted them to go. Sometimes I echoed it a bit, and sometimes I colored the whole thing a solid color. All in all, I wanted a lot more white space than I had a ton of color. So where I decided to put pastel colors is just kind of wherever you feel like it, and I think it turned out really cute. I finished off the cover page by adding a little calendar to the left-hand side on a little post-it note. This in reality is not what is on our wall, so I won't have this here, but this was a cute little idea that I thought of to keep the calendar in my cover page. It was super tiny and super hard to draw. Very tedious. Now I am just using my favorite font, which is calligraphy, to add the February title to the cover page. If you want to know how I learned how to do calligraphy, I actually have a whole video on how I do it, so make sure to check it out. I'll put it in the cards up above for you. Now I am just using these pastel washi tapes I got from my friend and adding them onto the cover page. The green matches really well with the pastel green that I ended up using, as well as this same purple that I used in my January setup. I just included it in this setup as well. And since I didn't know what I was going to do on the left-hand side of this spread, I ended up just moving on to the calendar page, and I feel like I'm going to fill it out later. I still haven't filled it out yet, which is a few weeks later, so I might fill that in with maybe a cute little cover page or a quote page. Now we're moving on to the calendar spread. I ended up doing a full-size calendar. I saw this really cute idea on Pinterest, as well as Amanda Rach Lee's calendar spread, and I really just wanted the most space for a lot of school tasks that I have going on this week, as well as I wanted a content planner. I always need more space for content planning, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to keep track of when I'm posting on Instagram and as well as YouTube. So trying to find the best spot for that is kind of been a challenge for me. I also ended up adding a cute little bookcase to the top of the page, as well as February in a little frame box on the top left corner. I also added a goal section where I can write down some quick things I want to get done this month. And after erasing all of my pencil marks, I added a lot of the small details like the bookshelf at the top of the page and adding color to the small areas around. After I finished doing that, I added color to all of my spreads, which means adding a lot of my pastel vibes to the top of the page, as well as some of the little washi tape sections I created, and adding color to my content planner. For the numbers on the calendar page, I did a really cute idea by adding specks, little colored pastel specks to all of the days of the month, and then adding the numbers inside of this. This really made all the colors pop and made this spread just look extra nice. Now I am just adding the titles to everything. I put February in calligraphy in the top left frame, as well as the goals section, that is the little box underneath the bookshelf, and the content planner, writing all those numbers and stuff. I always accidentally forget to sip my tea while journaling because I love listening to podcasts and other things while journaling. So I'm making sure every time I flip a page to sip it a few times. So here we are moving on to the habit tracker. For this month, I've struggled a little bit with finding which habit tracker is working best for me. If you watched my January plan with me, then you've seen that habit tracker was a graph type. And I don't know why I do those types because I always struggle with filling them out because they just look so disorganized and not pretty at all in any way. So I'm moving back to the mini calendars, but this time I'm adding them sporadically throughout the page, like little post-it notes in a journal page, and then adding all of my habits to them. My habits for this month are working out, Shakeology, which is a muscle shake, and then also playing instruments. I play guitar and flute, so making sure to practice those every day, as well as working on YouTube. I created this long box on the right side that says symptoms on it. Here I'm going to track my menstrual cycle, as well as like how long it goes, which I will record in the beginning of my journal. If you haven't checked that video out, I'll link it up at the top, my 2021 plan with me. And so then I'm just going to write down what symptoms I have, like cramping or anything like that, and then also how long it lasts and that type of stuff. This section on the right is very easy to explain. It's just a master task list as well as another YouTube section for brainstorming YouTube ideas. And then the page on the calendar for YouTube is for planning out which days I'm posting and what days I have to be filming and that type of stuff. Moving on to the next page is my favorite page of every single month, which is my brain dump. I use this so much and so often that I cannot forget to use it. So here I'm just creating a little frame at the top left corner. Then I wrote brain dump in calligraphy, as well as a bookcase that is in like the middle of the right hand side and the bottom of the left hand side that has a few simple items like a little bin containing a bunch of pens. If you're wondering what I use my brain dump for, I will show a few things that I wrote in my January brain dump. I wrote down a lot of theme ideas for February, as I don't always carry around my theme planning journal, and so I put those here to take home. I got some new money for Christmas, so I wrote that down in my January brain dump of like what I could buy with it. I also wrote down a song I heard in the car ride home, which is I Should Probably Go to Bed. Oh, I can't remember who this song is by, but I love that song. As well as just like a few notes, video ideas, when I was playing a board game, like the scores, and some random thoughts and school-related stuff. So stuff like that is what I put in my brain dump, and I use it a lot for just, whatever's on your mind. You're driving in the car and you're like, oh, I should write that down. And you don't really have a place for it, or you just have something at home where you need to write it down. I just write in my brain dump, which makes it easy to look back onto. Now heading straight into the flip through, which is my 2021 February desk, stationery, lofi vibes, but without the little girl who's really hard to draw. And so I hope you enjoyed this setup. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe down below. I also have an Instagram, so follow me there.